When I first married my wife, I knew her family was wealthy, but I never thought it would matter in our relationship. I believed love could overcome the differences in class, money, and lifestyle. She told me countless times that she didn't care about her father's approval or his fortune. I thought we were on the same side, building something real together, but slowly her father's shadow began to creep into our lives, and I realized just how wrong I was. Her dad was the CEO of a massive company, the very place where I had started working after our wedding. He gave me the job under the pretense of keeping an eye on me and making sure I could support his daughter. At first, I was grateful, thinking it was a chance to prove myself. But I soon noticed that no matter how hard I worked, I was never good enough in his eyes. Every achievement was dismissed, every effort criticized, while he constantly pampered his daughter with gifts and praise. The breaking point came one afternoon when he called both of us into his office. My wife had just returned from a trip, and he tossed her a set of keys with a smile. "This is for you, sweetheart," he said. It was a brand new BMW, custom ordered in her favorite color. She squealed with joy, hugging him like she was still a little girl. Then he turned to me with an icy look and slid an envelope across the desk. Inside the envelope was $2 and a termination letter. "That's what your work here has been worth," he said flatly. My wife laughed awkwardly like it was some kind of joke, but I could see the seriousness in his eyes. He wasn't joking. He was insulting me in the most humiliating way possible. My wife looked at the car keys in one hand and my letter in the other, and she chose silence. That silence cut deeper than anything her father had said. I walked out of that office with the envelope in my hand and a storm in my chest. I didn't argue. I didn't beg, and I didn't ask her to defend me. I simply looked at her one last time, hoping she'd at least follow me, but she stayed behind, staring at the shiny new BMW waiting outside. In that moment, I realized where her loyalties truly were. When I reached home, I packed my clothes into a single bag. Every picture, every gift, every reminder of our marriage, I left it behind. I didn't want to carry her betrayal with me. I blocked her number, deleted her messages, and even erased her from my social media. I wanted no reminders of her or her father's cruel arrogance. Days turned into weeks, and though part of me expected her to show up at my door, she never did. She was busy enjoying her new luxury car, the life her father had always promised her. I was nothing more than a chapter she could easily close. The truth was painful, but it was also freeing. I started over with nothing but the clothes I had packed and the determination to build a life on my own terms. I worked small jobs, saved every penny, and kept pushing forward. It wasn't easy, but every day I felt stronger, lighter, and more alive without the weight of their judgment. Meanwhile, I heard whispers from mutual friends that her father's company was facing trouble. His arrogance had caught up with him, and investors were pulling out. My wife, once flaunting her BMW, was now struggling to keep up appearances. I didn't gloat or reach out. It wasn't my problem anymore. She tried contacting me months later through a mutual acquaintance, asking if we could talk. But by then I had moved past the pain. I no longer had the urge to explain myself or to seek closure. She had chosen silence when I needed her most, and that silence had spoken louder than any apology could. In time, I built something real for myself. A career based on my skills, friendships built on respect, and a life free of manipulation. I learned that love without loyalty is meaningless, and respect cannot be bought or forced. Looking back, I realize her father's cruel gift was actually a blessing. Those $2 and that firing letter pushed me to leave a toxic life behind and start anew. Sometimes life has to break you in order to rebuild you stronger. Now, whenever I think of her and that BMW, I don't feel anger anymore. I just feel grateful that I walked away before I became completely lost in their world. Because in the end, I didn't lose a wife, I escaped a cage.